about you, Dave? What are your thoughts? Your GM is on. Fix this Leaf team.
Yeah, but hold on. We gotta make sure that are we saying like is Dave gonna predict what Dubas is gonna do, or is Dave gonna do what he would
No.
do?
This is what Dave is
That
doing.
sounds like
Okay.
me
We
now when
all
I
know
asked.
what Dubas is
That's
doing.
why I'm bringing it up, Dave, because that's what I said. I want to.
I know it is a good point.
Yeah.
Because is Giancarlo saying what he wants to do or what he
Yeah,
thinks is
what
going to
he
happen?
wants.
What he wants.
Okay.
In this case,
What
it's
I
one
want.
and the same. Yeah. In your
Yeah.
case, it may be different. So if you are going to, you're now the GM of the Leafs, Dave. We fired Dubas. What do you do?
Yeah.
I already have a headache. That's the problem.
Hi, and welcome to the show. This episode, we discuss a couple of bottom dwellers in the NHL and try to figure out whether they will eventually trend up down the road. We also talk about some current happenings in the league, including some sad news for a current star in the NHL. And lastly, we discuss the Pens, Habs, and Leafs trade deadline desires and strategies from our four fanatics for their favorite teams. Do the Bluejackets and Ducks have a bright future, or are they destined to be on the outside looking in? Will Ovechkin be impacted positively or negatively by the loss of his father? Will the Pens, Habs, and Leafs make some moves to give us some more to discuss and debate? We're back and ready to share our views and opinions for anybody that wants to listen. So please, take a load off, relax, and welcome to Hockey for Fanatics.
Cool. Is everyone ready? Is Giancarlo ready?
Yeah, he's gone. He's ready.
Oh, I'm ready,
He was the
baby.
first one here, so
Alright.
he was ready for sure.
Nice. What do you want to start the pod with?
I don't know. What do you guys? What's going on? I think we could talk about the Edmonton stuff if you want. I don't know
Sure.
if that's worthwhile, but
So, is there anything newsworthy, or are we gonna do our halfway
No.
predictions? Because we never hit our halfway predictions, and I really want Anaheim off my list and Columbus.
I think we should do that after the trade deadline, don't you think? Just
Yeah,
because then
actually,
you have
that
a
would be-
better
that would be
idea.
I think
That would be
that's actually pretty smart. I like that. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
Because then we'll know exactly where everyone
yeah,
stands.
pretty big different outlook if some teams get some players like even like a Horvat, for example. Even though I think most of us picked the Islanders to make the playoffs, Horvat won't hurt their chances, right?
I think Russo was the only one to take the Islanders.
I think I did. Did I not?
I think I took him.
Pretty sure I did too.
Oh, was I the only one who didn't take them?
Maybe
That
I don't know.
sounds like a
I think-
possibility. Yeah, I'm looking right now. Yep, that's exactly what it is. I was the only one who didn't take them.
Yeah, you put Columbus in their spot.
I did put Columbus. Yep.
Okay, Columbus is close.
Yeah, close.
I actually I don't
Still
regret that
hard.
pick. I don't regret that pick. I actually truly believed in that Columbus Blue Jackets team, and
Okay,
I mean,
why don't we
they didn't have the depth, and when they started to get hit with injuries, I mean that was it. And
injuries? Who got hurt? I don't even
the
know.
whole team was hurt.
Yeah,
The first 15 games.
Line.
the
I know
whole team-
Line got hurt, but that's
Liney got hurt.
Werenski was the
Werenski
big
got
one,
hurt.
right?
Elvis got hurt.
okay. When is Werenski not hurt?
Korpisalo got hurt. I know,
I
but the whole
know.
team got
Werenski
hurt.
is like a walking bandage every year.
Even their defense right now, like it's all minor leaguers because their whole core is hurt, and they're going to be trading that Russian guy. So like it's funny. They have nobody.
Yeah.
It's all minor league right now.
That team.
But you know what
I don't
though?
know.
It ended up for the best because
For
now
sure.
they'll be able to get a good shot at Bedard, and they got a good young like group of prospects they got to take a look at. So I think all in all, the only thing that's
They're
the
in good
funniest
shape.
part in this, is Goudreau was like, I came to Columbus to win.
Oh, stop.
Win, yeah.
Like, and that keeps getting thrown in his face,
Yeah, but
like
whatever.
over and over again. Like, oh really? How's that winning coming along in Columbus?
How do you figure
So,
they're in
yeah.
good shape, Giancarlo? Just curious. Like, how do you figure they're in good shape?
They're going to be the team to watch because, like Tommaso just said, they have a very young core coming up. They're top 3 in the league for prospects. Like they have young guys coming out of their ass.
Yeah.
And if these guys pan out,
Have
and
these
that's
guys
always
played
the
in the
question,
NHL yet? Like, who are these guys that you're
well,
mentioning?
They're
Cole
coming, they're
Sillinger's
coming.
playing, Ken Johnson's playing, Adam Bolkfist is playing. They got Liam Fody in there now.
Okay, Boakfist
Um,
I know, but he's nothing like he's decent. I don't know if he's
he'll be a top 4 defenseman.
okay. Okay, sure, middle pair. Let's call him a middle pair.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
a middle pair. And then they have Juracek, who you guys saw in the juniors, and he's lighting up the AHL right now. He'll be ready. They'll probably call him up next year.
Jiricek looked
He's
okay.
projected to be a top pairing defenseman. He's fantastic. Then they have that Marchenko guy that they grabbed. He's looking like he's going to be a 20-goal scorer this year. He's no, he's not the guy from Russia. He is Russian, but he's like 22. I think they drafted him.
What's that Russian defenseman's name that they're
Gav
planning on trading?
Gavrikov.
Gavrikov?
Yeah.
Garakov or something.
So I heard a really like an interesting tidbit about that guy. So what they did was they put him like they sat him now, right? For trade related reasons. And apparently they're in on Chikrin. So what they want to do is trade Gavrikov
Mhm.
and use those assets to put
Acquired.
into the chicken deal.
Okay.
How does
Yeah,
that make
because
any sense?
well,
No, it
it's
does make
because
sense.
they're-
They already
Well,
have Wierenski. But they have Wierenski already.
Doesn't
well,
play.
Chikrin is in a very good contract, right? And
Mm.
what they wanted to say, they want to sign Gavrikov, but Gavrikov wasn't willing to sign. So you get someone like a Chikrin that has term. So I don't know. I guess it's okay. Like
Guys,
they gotta
Columbus
start
is a
adding
mess.
players.
Columbus is a mess.
I'm with
No,
Dave
they're
on
really
this
not,
one.
guys. I'm telling you.
I don't know.
Just
You
keep
know,
an eye out for Columbus.
you know what? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but,
fair. It's
go
fair,
ahead, Mike.
It's fair, Giancarlo. But like, you, like I don't know these names. Cole Sillinger, for example, you said right. I'm not
Yep.
by any means writing the guy off. He's got 2 goals and 6 assists this year in 50 games. Okay, like I don't know what.
He's having a tough sophomore year, but the team sucks. The team's not
So
scoring.
yeah, okay, but if you're talking about a core player, you're gonna find a way to manufacture something. I'm not saying I'm writing the guy off or anything. He's still a
Yeah,
young
he's
player.
only 19.
He's still a young guy. I'm not expecting him to lead, but what I'm saying is like I don't know. I'm the type of person where I need to see a little bit and to be fair to you, like if you've watched them, I'm gonna take your word for it. I only see like I don't watch the Columbus Blue Jackets. You know what I'm saying? I watch them when they play Montreal, and
Mhm.
then if there's a guy on the roster that is constantly
Yeah.
a thorn in your side, that's who you note, right? Like you walk away from that experience and you go, okay, that's a guy I'm gonna watch. Like whether for whatever reason, like I say, there are guys that are gonna put the puck in the net. There are guys that are gonna be like annoying you, like feisty guys, pests. Like you notice them everywhere, right? And
Absolutely.
those are things like you walk away with an impression. The guy leaves an impression on you, whether it's someone that's
He's a
gonna.
little bit soft, Sillinger. He's not like a tough guy. But Ken Johnson's also a center. They have Boone Jenner, and like Tommaso said, if they end up with Bedard on this team, or even Fantelli, to be honest with you, like they just landed their top line center, and then guys like Sellinger or Johnson dropped down to like second line center, third line center, and this team is very deep down the middle. And then they have guys like Gaudreau, Laine, this Marchenko, he's looking good. He's a good goal scorer. If they had Chikrin, it's just I don't know. This team, I'm telling you, they got the goalie prospects too.
Hang on a sec. Okay, you're adding Chikrin, but you got to remove some of the guys you just mentioned. Then it's not that easy.
Tommaso was saying that they're looking to move the Russian defender. If they move him, I mean, I don't know how much more they're going to have to trade.
Their asking price is like basically like 3 first rounders.
Type I know.
Deal.
That's why I don't see how they would do it, because if they trade their first
Hmm.
round this year for Chikrin, they're a
No,
bunch of idiots.
they wouldn't do that.
No, they
But
wouldn't.
I think Columbus is something that we'll have a conversation with in 2 years from now. And in 2
Yeah.
years from now, we'll be like, they're the New Jersey Devils of this year, or they're the Ottawa Senators that are just like constantly like slamming into a wall. Like they have all this potential, but for some reason or another, they just can't get any footing. So I think I like what Giancarlo's saying. Like I remember G was telling us about it them a while ago, and I was just doing a little bit of reading on them, and their prospect pool is amazing. Like every single person that like knows what they're talking about in terms of prospects, they rate Columbus's prospects like very high. So for sure, but like Grimaldi says all the time, that's nice, but
Yeah.
can it translate to NHL?
Right.
That'll
Right?
work
Who
out.
knows, right? So we'll see. Like in 2 years from now,
It's
like
nice to have,
I'm sure we
yeah.
can revisit.
It's nice to have prospects. It's nice to have to be number one on a list anywhere, I guess, right? But
They're
Yeah.
they're not a Vancouver, is what I'm saying. Where like they're just an absolute disaster. Like Columbus, like they have the pieces that can make them successful.
sure.
And this draft,
Yeah.
like, what a time to suck. I mean, they're gonna,
Oh yeah.
and it'll depend on this draft too, right? Because like, if the player they select at whatever place they do select doesn't pan out, then I mean that takes a bit of a hit. But if who they take, if they end up with like a Bedard, like it's just that's such a game changer for them.
Are they still in last place?
They're close to it.
Yeah, I would say.
They're
I don't
close
know.
to it.
Yep.
Close to it.
Yep. They're last place by 1 point. And Chicago is only 1 point ahead of them. Did you hear Keller from Arizona? They were interviewing him, and they're saying, so how do you guys feel? You've gotten like a point in the past 6 games. He goes, we're feeling great. I don't know about our GM though.
Nice.
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. That's amazing. Like that's what we were saying this week. Like Dave, I think, was mentioning it. It's like, I know they want to lose. I know you want to tank, but those guys in the room, they want to play.
Oh,
They
for
still
sure.
want to play the
Their
game,
job is never
right?
to tank. Their job is to win, and
Yeah,
they want to have a job for the next year, right? Like they want to
exactly.
that it's an audition for them, especially the young guys, right? Like the guys that are like fringe players or whatever. Like those are guys that are like, hey, this is my chance to make it into the league, right? And even if they earn
Arizona
that
is
spot,
now 10 points ahead of Columbus. That's tough to make up. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like they just screwed up their first overall chances. Well, it's percentages, right?
Yeah,
But
we're talking
still,
fractions of percentages. Yeah, sure.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you can tell
So
the three teams that are like the very dead bottom are Chicago, Anaheim, and Columbus.
mhm.
Anaheim. I can't believe it.
That's another one. But I don't know.
That's
I
a
don't know
big
what happened with
surprise.
them.
That's a big surprise for them to finish this low. Like, how did they
I
do
had such
last
high
year?
hopes for them.
How did they do last year? I don't
They're-
even
No,
remember.
they were bad last year too.
Were they
Yeah,
really?
they
I
were
don't.
bad.
Yeah,
They
like
weren't bad. They
why
weren't
are
at
you
the bottom
surprised?
though.
Well,
I don't recall them being the
Why are you
bottom.
surprised? They have nobody. Like they haven't been good in a long time.
hold on. Not that I don't believe you, but it's like I don't
No,
remember.
but when
It
was the
didn't.
last time they were in the playoffs?
Well, I'm not talking
In a
playoffs.
while.
They played Edmonton. They beat. I think they beat Edmonton 3 years ago.
It's when Baldy was
So,
still playing.
hey, last year I'm looking at their stats. Last year they finished
They battled.
6 games below 500. So they weren't like
Okay.
brutal like this year, right? Like
Oh,
they
Oh
interesting.
yeah. Okay, I don't mean like they're
this
still like a
year,
mediocre team, right?
yeah, but
This one
this
was
year's
like,
that's
yeah,
what I'm saying. This year is bad. Like if you look at the
they really
percentage,
bottomed out, is what you're saying.
yeah,
For sure.
and when we were doing our bottom 5 predictions, like I don't think any of us predicted Anaheim to be here. Like you do expect some progression. You have guys like Zegras, even though I think he's soft as butter and whatever, and you got guys like Terry and who else they got? Mason McTavish that was gonna come in, and they signed what's his face, the defenseman, Dave.
Klingberg.
Yeah,
Klingberg.
Klingberg. So
But he's
Klingberg,
been
yeah.
terrible.
yeah, he's been awful this year. Talk about a brutal. Imagine
Yeah.
imagine being his agent. Didn't he fire his agent?
Oops.
I think he
He
fired his.
did.
He did. He fired
He
his
did.
agent. Yeah,
He
yeah, yeah,
did.
yeah. He couldn't get him
So
the long-term deal that he wanted. He fired the agent. They got this new guy. The new guy got him a 1-year show-me deal with Anaheim. I'm pretty sure if you logically think it through, you're like, yeah, go play with Anaheim. They're going to be a free-flowing offensive team. You're going to get a lot of points, and then you're going to cash in. Yeah, talk about not
no,
happening.
but
Right?
hold on a second. St. Louis was willing to give him a deal, but he just wanted more. He was like, his agent was telling him that no, we can get you more once you're in the free agent.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm assuming, right? Like, why wouldn't you take that deal? St.
Oof.
Louis is, I don't know. And then it really backfired on him, right?
Well, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we talk about this all the time about the influence of your agent, and we kind of underestimate how big of a role it is. Like, because they're responsible for your whole financial situation.
It
Like,
depends.
okay,
It
you
depends on
deal
the
with the
player.
business,
It
and I
depends on
don't.
yeah, but it depends on
Sure.
the player. You're right. if there are likely some players that say, you just do what's best, and you have an agreement. It's like having a lawyer, right? Like you,
Oh yeah, 100%.
that's what it is, and you have a relationship with that person, and there's a bottom line that if you're a player that like if I'm a hockey player and I have an agent, and it's smart to have an agent because you need someone that's school like knowledgeable and is going to look after your best interests. But if you say to the agent, look, under any circumstances, like I don't want to leave Montreal. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm playing for the Canadians.
Yeah,
I want to
for
stay.
sure.
I want to stay here. I mean, you don't want to go and tell the general manager that because he's going to literally say, okay, well, if you want to stay here, then I'm going to give you nothing. But if you tell your
Larkin
agent,
did.
bottom line, I want to stay here, and then your agent knows, okay, so I'm going to do the best I can with that requirement in mind, right? Which is
Yep.
fine. Like you can do that. So I think some players do and some players don't. That's what it
Did
is.
you know that Drew Doughty um, did it himself? He fired his agent
Yeah,
and he handled his own contract.
yeah.
He did pretty
I
good
think
too.
Ovechkin did the same thing, if I recall. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, oh yeah. He negotiated his last deal by himself, his $10 million deal.
Ovi is
Bombed
actually an
his
interesting
agent.
thing to talk about.
He fired him. Yeah,
I thought his mom was his
I th-
agent
I
the whole
think you might
time. Why did I?
I think you might be right. I think you might be right. That's when I
Maybe.
let me see. But well, I mean, at the end of
Isn't
the
she
day,
like she's like an Olympian, I think it is.
I'm
Like
Googling.
she's like they got real strong sports
It says he has.
lineage in the family.
It says he has an agent named Steven Scorenci. I don't know who this guy is. I do recall hearing that though, Dave, about his mom. So maybe it was his mom that negotiated that deal. Because if you think about it, like an agent's going to get a percentage of your deal, right? So why not? Why not save it? Like you're Ovechkin. You're going to
Mhm.
For
walk in
sure.
and say, "Give me this money." Like what are they going to say to you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like McDavid. Like that. Those guys
How
really.
hard could that deal be,
Yeah.
right?
But it's also not good too. Like I remember Andre Markov from Montreal. He started to play that game at the end of his career, and he decided he was not going to have an agent, and he walked into Mark Bergevin's office and it got ugly. Like it got really ugly because the GM
Yeah.
has like the GM says things to your agent that he wouldn't say to you as a player, right? Like all of your warts come up, right? Like if you've got deficiencies in your game and it's causing, they're not going to give you more money because of it, that stuff's going to come out. And imagine being in the room hearing like you're too soft. You know what I mean? Or
Yep.
you don't come through in the clutch. We've been paying you for years. You never come through for us when we need you, kind of thing. Like it's not a good thing to hear when you're a player, right?
For
So,
sure. Well, that's why arbitration is always such a tough thing because
right.
there's things that are said there that, like, obviously the team wants to bring the price down, so they're going to levy you to
Yeah.
someone lower.
Yeah, they're gonna compare you to
And then,
somebody that they
yeah,
want. Yeah,
so
something favorable to them.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you might not want to hear what they have to say. So it's tough.
Yeah,
And those things don't go away. They might stay with you.
it's
And
true.
I
You
don't know. It's
you
just
you walk out
tough.
of that room. You're right. You walk out of that room and it's like, is that guy really gonna give you his all when the chips are down, right? Knowing what he
Hmm.
knows now. Like you're right. Arbitration is one of those things that they try to avoid at all costs because exactly for that reason, for sure.
I was just going to say to
Yeah,
you about the Ovi thing, about his father just passed away.
you're right.
Um, do you think that's going to affect him moving forward?
I don't see it affecting him. I mean, he's normal, just like any of us, right? But he's a competitor, right? So I don't know if that ever goes away. I mean, it's tough to say, but in my opinion, the way he plays, I don't think. I mean, he has a certain drive that not many have. So you think that maybe he's going to lose some of that drive? Because I think he
I
was
think
close with his dad.
he was very close, yeah. Especially to see like your dad to see you break that record. I think that meant a lot to him. So I don't know. I think what's keeping Washington afloat right now is Ovi and that goaltender. What's his name?
Cooper or the other one?
He's
Kemper?
been
Lindgren?
they've been spectacular. So I don't know how they've been staying afloat. So I was just thinking, like, if
So many
something like,
injuries they've had. So many, man.
yeah,
Carlson
so
has missed almost the whole year. You got Wilson out. Like,
exactly.
come on, Backstrom. Like, it's crazy.
I'm surprised they're still there. Like Strom was like a hit. Like they signed him in the off season for nothing, and he's been like basically their number one center, and they've been doing like I don't know. They just like Giancarlo noted the other day. They just keep picking up points. They're annoying.
Yeah, they're one of those
They're
veteran teams. Like I would compare them to Pittsburgh. A very similar model where you've got that old guard. I know they've been fighting
yeah,
through injuries, but usually uh, Ovechkin has been healthy. Is Backstrom back?
Yeah, he's been back
yeah,
for a
yeah,
while.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. He's back.
So you have those guys that you're going to lean on, and they're going to get you through the tough times and whatever. But that's why I say, like, you have those veteran teams. I don't know if they've got enough horses to win the entire thing, but they definitely have enough to make the playoffs if things go their way, right? They've been fighting adversity, like Dave said, with injuries to many guys, and now they're getting those guys back, right? So
Problem is though they're gonna play with the Islanders and Buffalo and Florida and Pittsburgh. It's
yeah,
gonna be
it's always like that though.
every point count. Well, not last year, but every point counts right now. Every point.
Oh, did you notice Detroit?
Yeah,
I didn't even notice this. They're
s-
58 points.
yeah, sneaky.
Even Ottawa's sneaking up there.
Ottawa's 55.
55.
Yeah, yeah.
Montreal.
Oh, stop.
Hey,
They're actually they're 2-2 against Carolina tonight. I got the game on beside me. So
Really?
yeah, after 2 periods.
Such a
Carolina.
weird team.
Yeah.
Such a weird
Oh
team.
my God. What is Montreal doing?
Yeah, they're playing well. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey,
They're playing like
there's
champions.
lots of games left to lose, and they do have a tougher schedule. I'm not worried yet, but they're definitely not going to finish bottom three. I still think they're silly for doing this, but if they can get I'm not even thinking of obviously a Bedard or a Fantilli. If they can get a guy like Will Smith in the first
Okay.
round,
Yeah, he looks good.
I'm
He
thrilled.
looks really good.
That's the guy that I'm hoping that they get. He's the
Yeah,
centerman,
he looks really good.
and that's the guy that I hope that they get.
So you know what? Maybe this is a good thing for you. Like maybe this is hockey karma, hockey gods, whatever you like.
Yeah,
The dickheads that are tanking and losing on purpose,
yeah,
they're gonna miss out on the pick. And the team that's actually showing real like life
yeah.
and actually playing hard, like they will just miss the playoffs, but then they're gonna win the lottery
Well,
and they're gonna get the first overall
I
pick. Like
doubt I
that's
doubt that. That would be great, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
didn't the
Now.
Rangers
But
do that like 2, 3 years
well,
ago?
that was the lottery. Everyone was in that one.
Was it?
I don't know how they
I
do
think that
this
was
now.
Like
that
when
was
they
because
won
of COVID.
Lafreniere.
Yeah, remember the Leafs almost won it. Remember it was because of the COVID situation, so they put everyone in the.
I don't remember. I usually pay
I don't
attention.
remember everyone. I don't think it
Maybe
was
it was
everyone, but
well, the
you might be
Leafs
right.
technically never made the playoffs. They were in the play-in or whatever, so they
Hmm,
were
that's right.
part of that lottery.
But details will come out. Like there's always stuff that we don't know, and I wish that maybe we had this information that we could pull up. But when it gets closer to the draft, we'll or the lottery. When do they usually do it? They're in the playoffs, right? I think.
I think the
Yeah.
first week of the playoffs,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Then they'll
But
start to show all the percentages and the things.
let's be honest. I mean, Chicago's the only team that's really not.
Tanking.
I don't want to say
Oh, they're
not
bad.
trying, but
Oh,
if
dude.
you watch,
Oh no, they're yeah.
Oh,
you
they're
know what I
bad.
mean,
Trying.
They're bad.
like everyone else, like San Jose's winning games, Arizona's winning games. I mean,
It's
I
true.
don't know.
Guys, I was at that game last night in Scotiabank, and I was in disbelief at how bad Chicago was. I know they were coming off a back-to-back because they had played Montreal the night before, and they lost 4-0 to Montreal. But oh my God, it was horrible. Like I'm like these guys are attacking with one guy, like one guy.
Yeah.
Their breakout plays were their goalie would pass it to their defenseman. Their defenseman would pass it over to their other defenseman. He would pass center and flip it on net. I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, what are they doing? Like there's no cohesion, no
Yeah.
no build up, no set plays, nothing. And I
But
feel
that's why
bad.
you put Bedard on that team. What's he gonna do there in a
It's
couple
true.
of years? What's that team gonna be if they have nothing? At
It,
least you guys mentioned Columbus has some prospects and stuff,
yeah,
but
Chicago's gonna
it
have
can
to go
work.
Still got
through.
a long way to go.
Yeah, Chicago's
That's what I
But
gonna.
mean.
they all start
I'm
like
hoping
that.
yeah, but I'm hoping he goes there if he goes anywhere because I mean he's out of the conference for us, but at the same time, we'll see what he's all about because he's going to be alone. He's not like he's going to a team with. I mean, okay, they have Seth Jones, but what can he do? I mean,
They got Lucas Reichel who
Yeah, he looks
will
good.
come up, but
He looks good.
that's about it. Prospect wise, they're very, very short.
compared to
So
the Habs who are playing so hard, and you see some
for
Mike
sure.
can talk to it. It's a different team, right?
Yeah, you
I
see
don't
a
know.
little
You know,
effort, you see a little life. Yeah,
But
sure.
you can see some guys that belong on that team in the future, which whereas Chicago, I don't know what the hell they have. I
It's
really
true.
don't.
It's true. It's a good point. Like I respect the GM for at least making a decision, but it really comes down to like those decisions at the highest level need to equate to actions for the rest of the roster, right? So we're gonna see. Like
sure.
right now it's really early. They've made the decision. They're gonna tank, and we know that it's not a 1 year thing for them. Like that's not a. This isn't a Vancouver
No.
situation, right? Like we said,
No,
Vancouver's
not at
gonna
all.
probably finish as low as they can this year, get the best pick they can. There's no way next year they're gonna do it again. They're gonna try to win. Chicago, I think, is gonna do this again. I think they're gonna lose again because they just have a really bad team. That's just the way it is. Like and
They
but they did it before. Dave, you watched the
Yeah,
yeah,
Hawks build from scratch with Tays and Kane and all
no,
these
they
guys.
did, and I mean, but I mean, they also had Keith and all those other guys. So I mean,
yeah,
I'd
they
have to,
drafted those guys, right?
yeah,
So I think they can do it. But the problem right now for them is the whole Tays and Kane situation hurt them because they were hoping to be able to unload those two
Mm.
and start over their franchise. Like ideally a Kane or a Tays, especially Tane, you can bring back significant assets.
I still think he'll
But
be
well, I don't
moved.
know if Kane
now,
can.
I don't
I
think
don't think
so.
you can. I don't think you can get a lot for Kane at all. If he says I want to go
Right now,
to
no,
this team,
nothing.
how do you? There's no bidding
Uh,
war.
Yep.
I would be all over getting Patrick Kane. Like I watched him last night. He he was just not uh I said he
Engaged.
was not engaged. He's not. And it's
No.
hard, right? Like think about it. Like this is a guy that he's a gamer, man. Like his whole career they were a competitive team and they were winning cups and dominating and it's hard. Like when now all of a sudden you're playing with nobody, and I can totally see him judging his teammates on the ice. Like we've all played hockey at various levels, whether it's ball hockey, even. I don't care what level you play at. When you're playing with a guy that stinks, you're like, oh my god, I'm not going to give this guy the ball. You know what I mean? Like you're like,
Okay,
if
but
I,
hold on. Answer me this real quick.
yeah,
You want to play for a good team, right?
sure.
There's a potential team that's interested in you that you're playing tonight. Wouldn't you want to play your best against them? Like that's
Well,
the only thing I was really disappointed in. You
In
would think
Kane,
he'd put on. Yeah, Kane was horrible
he had a
like
couple of
last night,
he had a couple of rushes, but yeah, you're right. He was largely disinterested. Well, then what does it tell you? You're right. Maybe he doesn't want to go to the Leafs.
right?
No,
That's
maybe
the only thing I'm thinking. I'm like,
maybe he
if
doesn't want to go there.
this is one of the teams you want to go to, wouldn't you want to put on a show or like say, okay, guys, like come trade for me.
Well,
Look what I could give you.
maybe he doesn't want to not wear 88. You never know, right?
I
it
Like
don't
could be
know.
it could be various things. It could be he doesn't want to get hurt, and then he's screwed. He
Well,
can't go
well,
anywhere.
you guys heard what Carlo Koyakovo said, right?
no,
That
what did he say?
apparently he's willing to go to two teams, the Rangers and the Leafs. And now the Rangers are gone. Like
Hmm.
Leafs are pretty much the only other option that he's
Yeah,
be
but
willing to
where is Carlo
trade for.
getting his information? Because I sent you guys the articles about was it Vegas, Dallas? Who are the other teams that I put in there? Was Carolina
I
in
think
that
those
list?
are interested in him for
Yes,
sure.
yes,
Like
yes.
there's a difference between teams interested in him and teams that he's willing to waive
Yeah,
his
but
no trade,
how does he know?
right?
Like that's what I'm saying. Where's Carlo getting this
I don't
information?
know.
Did he
I,
say?
I do question
I-
Carlos' source on that because I remember reading a while back ago that the Leafs were not on his list of wanting destinations.
That's what I mean. So who
Well,
knows,
all
right?
we
So
know
I
is
mean,
what
it
we
can
saw, and
change.
like Tommaso brought up a really good point. If this is your audition and you want to play for the Leafs, let's assume he wanted to play for the Leafs. You would have expected a little bit more of a "this is my show tonight," right?
What
exactly.
if it's his hip though? What if he
Nah,
really isn't 100%?
Yeah.
If he was
I think
Giancarlo,
that's
he
what
would shut it
Giancarlo's on
down.
the money.
No, he would shut it down.
I
Why?
think he's playing hurt, bro. I honestly think he's playing hurt.
Why would he?
Like he's
Why
been
would he play
terrible
hurt?
for a while now.
Why would he play
Well,
hurt?
because
I
he
think it's
really
one of
has one
those.
choice: to play through the pain and deal with it, or get surgery and be out for the year, right?
Well,
So maybe he's still in that
but
testing stage. Like,
why not get surgery? Because you're going to be a UFA. You're going to need to sign with somebody. You're telling me
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what he should have done. I think.
that's
I
what he
think.
should do.
What I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna do as
Okay.
well. I mean,
You know what will be the final answer for us? The deadline day when he doesn't go, and then he goes
shuts it
immediately
down.
to
Shut.
right away,
Surgery.
gets shut down.
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
you'll know. Like he'll be like
Yeah.
the deadline days, like he doesn't go anywhere, and he's like, okay, he'll shut it down and he'll go have his surgery.
Yeah.
Like that's to me is what's going to happen. I think with this guy
Right. Yeah. You're right.
because the Rangers passed on him because they're worried about his hip. So there's got to be a reason, right? There's got to be something there that spooked the Rangers. So I don't know.
Yeah, because the Rangers could have afforded to get him, especially when you look at what they gave Tarasenko. Even if they gave double for Kane,
I'm
I
s-
mean,
I'm so
they
I'm so
they still could
terrified.
have done that.
I admit I'm so terrified. I think I said it before and I'll say it again. I think Boston's going to end up with this guy, and
With who? Kane?
yeah, I do.
With Kane?
I'm worried.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. I
Uh,
don't see him fitting there.
maybe I'm
I don't know.
paranoid, Dave. I'm probably
I see
paranoid.
more. Yeah, I could see O'Reilly more
Bertuzzi.
than him, or Bertuzzi,
Yeah,
but
O'Reilly or Bertuzzi for sure.
Bertuzzi's a
They're better
perfect fit
fit.
there.
Oh, I
I
don't
heard they're
know.
going after the.
Boston's hungry.
I
They're
heard.
gonna. I don't know. I worry about those guys because they know that they need another. If they get one of those guys up there, oh my God, like that, that'd
Boston.
be my worst nightmare.
I know it is for you, even for us too.
I heard they're going after D. Like
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
going after.
understand.
They want a big D, whether
I
it's
I
Shen
think
or
they
the
Yeah,
guy
need.
from
Gavrikov.
Columbus.
I think they need defense. I
Yeah,
think they
they
need
want one of
defense.
those two guys.
Have you
That's
seen
another
the?
guy that'll look really good in a Bruins jersey. That guy from Columbus.
Gavrikov?
Gavrikov, yeah.
I
Hmm.
don't know about this guy. Whatever. I don't see much. Whatever. I get it. Everybody. I don't. Sometimes I don't fall for the hype with these guys. I watch this guy. I don't see it, but
I don't see it. I don't see it either, but I don't see him closely enough. I mean, we never
He's
really
just
watched
mean.
Labushkin, but we liked him after, right? So I don't know.
right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess that's what it is. Like you have to really. I wish there was a way. I bet you there's a resource online where you can get like you can watch shifts of guys if you wanted. I gotta look into this. I'm pretty sure I've heard on my other podcast that I listen to that there is a website that if you wanted to watch a specific player, I know they have it for scouts. Like scouts can do it, where they watch like
Yeah.
college players, and literally you can spend an hour, and all you're doing is watching one guy. Like you're not even watching a game. You're just watching all of his shifts. You can get through a
Oh
game.
wow.
Yeah, you can get through a game in like 15 minutes, right? 20 minutes because you're just watching him. And it's pretty cool. Like if you think about it, if
That's
you're just
amazing.
yeah, if you're just isoing on a guy and you're like, oh, how's he playing in this situation? Sometimes you lose a little bit of the context of the game. I think because
For
you
sure.
don't see like what circumstances it was in or the momentum of
But
the
it's a
game.
lot
But
easier to scout because like for example last game, right? Like against Chicago,
yeah,
I was trying to like really focus on Lafferty,
yeah,
McCabe, and Kane.
yeah.
But like it's
It's
not
hard.
like you
You
know what I mean? The play happens, it
you
changes, this and that,
you
and
really
like
you
it's kind of hard.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even notice if they're on the ice or
It's
not,
true.
right?
You really gotta stop watching the way you usually watch. Like I watched Kane.
Hmm.
I watched some shifts that Kane just skated around and did not touch the puck. And I'm like, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, he's there, he's in his spot, and I see him shaking his head sometimes where I'm like, he expected to get the puck, he didn't get the puck, and then he's mad, and I can tell when he's skating to the bench, he's mad, right? Like I'm like, okay, this guy's just he's disappointed in his teammates. He doesn't want to be there. He's like, get me off the ice. Like he's just not. That's what it is. It's like he expects more, and it's not going to happen. And so yeah, you're right though. Like if you wanted to watch, but that's what it really takes. Like we don't know half of these guys that are on these trade lists, right? Like we only
For
know
sure.
maybe the sexy names, like the Horvats or the whoever gets dealt.
So what do you think of the other two? Giancarlo, help me out here.
Laff
Laff,
Lafferty?
Lafferty.
Sam Lafferty?
Lafferty?
I don't know this
Yeah,
guy.
that's it.
I know how to say that one. I've heard. Oh,
Lafferty.
Lafferty scores.
Yeah, Lafferty
a
and
lot.
McCabe are the other two big
McCabe looks big. Yeah,
deadline deals.
McCabe looked big, tall.
Yeah, but he looked really bad. Like he looked like there's two plays that the Leafs scored on. he couldn't even skate. Like he
Yeah.
tripped over himself. I was just like, wow, no, you can't play on Toronto's team if you can't skate.
No.
That's for sure.
Who was the one
I don't
picking
And
think
on
he'll be good for
Marner? Someone
Toronto.
was picking on Marner. Did they show that?
oh, really?
There was one defenseman that was picking on Marner. I couldn't like it was happening on the other side of the ice for me when I was watching, so I couldn't tell his
The
number.
Murphy?
It might have been Murphy. It was he was literally
Murphy's a good
Maybe.
guy.
abusing Marner, like, and there was like no puck near them. He was just cross-checking him and
Wow.
pushing him, and then Marner looked back at him, and then he pushed him again, and it was like, that's the stuff that sticks out to me. So, I mean, that guy is,
Marner, you mean like the big heavyweight for Toronto? Is that the one you're talking about?
yeah,
Like who's fifth in hits for the
man,
Toronto Maple Leafs?
hits.
Mitch
I don't
Marner?
those hits.
I'm telling you, he's fifth. Like that's how sad
That's bad.
this Toronto team is. Mitch Marner is fifth in hits. John
But
Tavares is second.
it's not right. It's just not right. But
It's
the
so
part I don't
bad.
get is no matter who you listen to on whether it's reading it or seeing it on TV or listening on the radio, everyone says the same thing. They lack physicality. They lack that toughness. They lack. How is it that they don't see it? How is it the whole hockey world says the same thing, except for those two stubborn guys?
They
I don't
see
get
it,
it.
bro. They do. They see it. They don't care.
I
They have
disagree.
a
Oh,
belief.
you're saying they
They
don't care. They see
believe
it.
that
Yeah.
it's no. They believe that their philosophy, their way of hockey,
Okay.
will overcome that.
That's
Like
fine,
that's
but
what
you're
they
0 for
feel.
6. You're 0 for 6 in the playoffs, so
Exactly.
obviously it's not working.
Yep.
Well, I
It
mean,
just baffles me.
I'm okay with like if you're gonna build a skill model, you do need to do it. Like I would put Colorado in a skill model, right? But like I said before, Colorado hits a ton. They forecheck the crap out of you. So
They do.
it's not, and I don't know if it's the same now because they're having a tougher year, but they've also had a lot of guys injured all year. So whether or not I think they'll make the playoffs, and I think that they'll be tough to beat in the playoffs.
Yeah, they
So
are.
they'll
Oh yeah.
it'll go back to the way it was, and they will be a very fast team that hits you. And so that's why I say, like, it's okay to build a skill model, but you still need to be quick, and you need to show a little bit of intensity. Intensity is what I'm looking for.
Of
Intensity
course you
doesn't mean you have
do.
to kill anybody, but you need to be there. You need to engage. You need to be first on the puck. If you're gonna play fast, then there's no question you got to be first on the puck. Period. Right?
Well,
Yep.
I mean, look at Tampa's been doing the past 3 years that they made the finals. They've added to their bottom six. They got bigger.
Yeah.
Even on D, they made sure they got guys that block shots and just take care of their own zone. I mean, I don't know. I don't consider ourselves the most intelligent hockey people, but isn't that just hockey 101? Isn't that play? There's a difference in
Yeah.
playoff hockey that
It's
everyone sees,
it's a
but for some
traditional
reason
it's a traditional model. Yep.
it is. And
Yeah.
this guy's trying to go into the playoffs with Liljegren and Sandin at the point with Hall. I'm sorry, man.
Well,
It's not a Stanley Cup D.
yeah, it's and that's where, like Tommaso said, we've said the word philosophy before. So they're gonna live and die by that, and they're
Oh,
not changing anything because that's what the spreadsheet says, right? Like they're saying if
Exactly.
eventually it's gonna go our way. Like
yeah.
like
Yep.
they're playing the percentages, and they're saying, yeah, we lost this time, but next time we're gonna win. Because if we do it
Well,
again, we're gonna win, right? That's the way they figure. But they don't realize that people are not robots, right? And those players, whether you say you believe, I think confidence and doubting yourself factors in more. And I think that the Leafs are one of those teams that I think Tampa, if they play Toronto, I've said this before, I think you're going to see a very different Tampa Bay out of the gate. And if Tampa Bay
Oh
wins
yeah.
wins the first two games, I think that's going to be a really quick series because I think Toronto's
Hmm.
going to start to have that. Oh God, here it's happening again.
Here we go
And
again.
and I don't.
Yep.
have you seen Tampa's home record? They have the second, like right behind Boston, home record.
Yeah.
And,
So I
and
mean,
Tampa is going to get home ice advantage. I guarantee you.
oh,
They will.
they've
They
been
will
turning it
be.
on. They've been
Yep.
turning it
They
on now,
will.
right? So they
Yeah.
have that gear. They know when to turn it on, and the team here doesn't. They don't have that extra gear. They just play the same style, and it's. Put it this way: I don't think anyone would be surprised if they go first round. Nobody will. So there's no
No.
expectations. You know, that anticipation is gone for everyone here. It's like let's just get the playoffs done and go from there because no one's expecting anything. There's no way. If you're saying you expect this team to go to the finals and win, you're dreaming still.
Yeah, it's
And I don't
it's
know
gonna
who
be
he's gonna
tough.
add. I don't know, but Mike, I don't know who he's gonna add. And like he needs a forward. He needs a top six
Hold
forward.
on, hold on. Let me stop you right there because I was going to
Yeah.
do like a little fun little game, and then that leads right into what you were saying. So put on your GM hats, every single one of you.
Oh yeah, sure.
And so, Giancarlo, for the deadline, what are you wanting to add for Pittsburgh? What are you willing to do, like realistically, obviously, right? And then Mikey, what would you
Sure.
hope the Montreal does? And then what do you like to
Sure.
get or leave? And then Dave, what do you think that the Leafs should do? What moves would you want to see? And let's have some fun with that.
Yeah, I'll start that off. Well, it's pretty much kind of a review from last podcast because it's the same targets for me. If I just
Don't
loaded
even
NHL
think about
23
saying
GM mode,
Don't say Demko. If you say Demko, I swear to God.
well, my first target would be Demko.
Okay.
He's still not playing, but okay.
Yeah, well, like that would be my main target. I would do whatever it takes to get him, to be honest with you, because goaltending for Pittsburgh's been bad, and this team is better than what they look like. And a big problem has been goaltending, and it's been like this since Fleury. We just need a solid goalie, and we'll get some results. So I'd be all in on Demko. If obviously they can't get him, then I'd like to at least see them bring in Gibson. There's really not that many other goalies.
So you're looking for
available.
goaltending. Goaltending is your.
I'm looking for goaltending, and I'm moving Jari as part of it because
Okay.
Jari is UFA, and we need to move on from him.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's the only
That's
role.
it, Jari.
Well,
You're
if
trading-
goaltending would be the absolute biggest thing, I'd like to see Kapanen move too, of course. I'd love to see Jeff Carter move, but I don't think anybody's taking Jeff Carter. And Dumoulin's got to go too. Dumoulin's got to go.
He's UFA, right? Dumoulin.
He's also UFA, but he looks horrible out there. I don't know what's wrong with him. This is the worst he's ever played in his career, and everybody's fed up with him. So, I mean, if they could trade him and bring in more defense would be great. And our top or bottom six needs a lot of help too. But I think moving guys like Jeff Carter
You
and
guys
Kapanen
want Matheson back? We'll give you Matheson back. You can take him
off. Matheson, yeah. I mean, I would take him back for sure, but they traded him.
You know what's funny? I don't hear anything. Like, I don't hear Pens, like nothing. I don't hear their name in any, like never. You hear the insiders talk about the Pens, and it's weird. Like, I'm surprised. Like, a team that Burke runs, like usually that guy's in on anything and everything. Like, it just.
I don't think they have much
crazy.
to offer though. What trade chips do they have?
No, they do have some trade chips. It's just
Like what?
Burke. I don't know.
Like
Burke
what?
hasn't really been. Well, I mean, they still have their first round pick, which is always
Not
Okay.
everyone, but
tradable.
pretty much everyone
No,
has
no,
that.
but
But you got to be careful now.
That's a bargaining chip.
They have Jari. I think Jari has a
Oh,
lot
stop.
of value as a goalie.
He's a UFA.
I mean, be real.
I don't want him. Why does he have
So?
value?
Oh,
But that
why
means
not?
how could he have value then?
Well, if a team's looking for a goalie, why wouldn't Jari be in the top 5
He's
trade
a
targets?
UFA, dude.
A goalie for
Exactly.
a goalie.
He's
I
a
don't.
rental, and you could re-sign him if you
Yeah,
like
but
him.
enough with this UFA. What do you mean? It's his choice if he resigns with you. I understand what you're saying, but think you got to put yourself in the other team's shoes. You're gonna be like,
think
I
it
gotta
would be
sign.
fantastic for them.
He's too much.
If I'm being honest with you.
You're-
So Jari, first round pick, and then they got a couple guys in the minors. Like Puustinen is
Okay.
pretty good.
So
Nothing
what you're
special,
saying
like,
is basically
there's no
upgrade
bidding war.
goalie, and then bottom six, and then on the defenseman, basically, like all.
Pretty much,
like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, for
Yeah, pretty much everything
Corpusalo,
to
isn't
the
he
top six
available?
forward.
What about Corpusalo?
I don't want Corpusalo. No.
I'm just saying.
The two options for you are probably Talbot in Ottawa. I heard
No.
is out there, and then the Arizona goalie, who I still think he's fine. Like,
Yeah, the
he's-
Arizona goalie would be interesting. I
Who?
mean, he would
Who
be,
is
but
it? Which
my
Can't
only
pronounce
rule
it.
is
That's
the
what a
goalie's
V.
got to be better than DeSmith.
I'm waiting for
Goalies have got to be better
waiting for
than DeSmith.
Giancarlo to say it.
Which
I
one?
can't.
What's his name?
The goalie that starts with a V
Oh, the
in,
V-Dog?
in Arizona.
V Dog.
I don't know.
Vimelka.
Is
Come
that
on.
it? V-Dog?
No,
I don't know.
Milka, really? I thought it was like Vegema or something.
No, it's
Oh
Vimelka.
boy.
Well, I
Okay.
hope we don't go and grab Cam Talbot because he's got to be better than DeSmith, and I don't think Talbot's better than DeSmith personally.
Okay. What about you, Dave? Well, what are your thoughts? Your GM is on. Fix this Leaf team.
Yeah, but hold on. We gotta make sure that are we saying like is Dave gonna predict what Dubas is gonna do, or is Dave gonna
No,
do what
no,
he
no,
would
no.
do?
This is what Dave is
That
doing.
sounds like me
Okay.
We
now when
all
I
know
asked.
what Dubas is
That's
doing.
why I'm bringing it up, Dave, because that's why I said I want to.
I know it is a good point.
Yeah,
Because is Giancarlo saying what he wants to do or what he
Yeah,
thinks is
what
going to
he
happen?
wants.
what he wants.
Okay,
In this case,
what I
it's one
want.
and the same. Yeah. In your
Yeah.
case, it may be different. So if you are going to you're now the GM of the Leafs, Dave. We fired Dubas. What do you do?
Yeah.
I already have a headache. That's the problem. Well, the thing is, I don't think this team is good enough to make a run this year. I just don't. I don't see it. So
Okay.
I
So
don't know
what do you do?
what do I do?
I won't disagree with you,
It's
but if you're taking
yeah.
over now and you're going to say, okay, I'm going to
I'm
be
I'm
in the
adding just
playoffs.
I'm adding bottom six guys because I'm not giving up anything drastic. I'm not giving up anything that the future might
So who would you
benefit us.
who would you if you're going to add bottom six guys, who would you replace
I
in
think
the lineup with
well
those guys? You don't have to
I
name
think
the guys you
Barbish.
would trade for, but okay,
Yeah,
Barbashev.
no, exactly. I think Barbashev would be one because
Okay.
he can play anywhere in the bottom. He's a
I
we'll
like him.
call him
I
middle
like
six
I like
more
him.
than a
Yeah.
bottom six type guy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, definitely him. I'd go after someone like Luke Shen on D for sure. He's not going to cost you a lot.
Yeah.
You know, never mind Chikrin. These are all pipe dreams.
And who
Chikrin,
would
all
who
these
would
big
you
names.
replace in your lineup? Like if you're going to bring in a Barbashev, who would you drop from your lineup to add him?
Could I please dump Engvall somewhere?
Thankful. Actually, he played all right last night.
I forget, but these are the games he likes. There's
It's
no
true.
contact,
It's
no,
true. There was
you know what I mean. You don't
very
have to
little
fight for
resistance.
space.
He was playing on rookie mode in PlayStation. That's what it was.
You got then you got Kerfoot who's I don't know. He can't even sit on the bench. He fell off the bench, man. So it's like honestly, the bottom six it has no identity. So you think about you're gonna go against Tampa. If they were to add a Bertuzzi type,
Bertuzzi, there you go. I like it.
no, not here. I'm saying if
Well, no,
Tampa
no. But
adds a
okay, but we're talking you were the GM of the Leafs. You wouldn't add Bertuzzi?
no, he's not coming here. The whole
Oh,
vaccine
the
thing, he's
vaccine
not
thing.
coming here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
but so my point is, if you know you're playing Tampa Bay, right? So you look at their strength versus your strength, and the biggest weakness they have compared to them is their bottom six.
Yeah.
So if you don't adjust that, you're not going to win that series, unless Marner or Matthews go off. But because I don't see Vasilevsky having an average series like he did last year. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, the Leafs were one win
Yeah, they
away,
had a
one win."
bad
Okay, but
start. He had a very
Vasilevsky
soft
was,
start.
yeah,
Tampa
he
was
was
sleepy
very
the first couple
average.
of games. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they took
So
over though. Like you could see the shift. You could feel it. Like those first 3 games, it's almost like they were not themselves, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, it's time to play, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
the way I see it, honestly, is that if
So
this management really believed that they were close to a cup, they would go after Timo Meyer in a heartbeat. They would trade Nyes. They would. I just don't think they believe they're ready either to win, and that's not a good sign. They're not sure.
so back to you. What you're saying, you would go for bottom six guys with a
I'd
little,
go for character guys, bottom six,
yeah,
just guys who play heavy, right? Because
guys who play heavy.
that's what it is, right? So
It's true. Yeah, you need the guys to do the digging in the corners, the heavy lifting, that type of stuff. Makes sense to me.
Mikey, you're next.
Okay. So I mean the Habs,
Just
I mean there's so much that's on the block for Montreal. Like we got Hoffman, we got Drouin, there's Dadonov, there's Monahan. I think Edmonton's been mentioned. Josh Anderson's been mentioned. So many names on the trading block. Like you can't trade everybody. I'd be shocked, but I do think that like I'm gonna play the game where I'm gonna predict what's gonna happen, I guess, because it's hard to say what I would do. I've said before I wouldn't trade Josh Anderson at the moment because I think that his value will maintain itself, if not get better, because like you just don't find those players. You said it the other day, Tomas. Like you don't find players that can score 20 goals, that can hit, that can fight, that can skate. You don't find those guys. And yeah, he's not a
yeah.
legitimate second liner. He's not, but he's going to score 20 goals for you. So, and Montreal's not a gifted offensive team. So that's not a bad player. Like you put Josh Anderson on Edmonton, I guarantee you he would score way more than 20 goals, right? He can skate. McDavid would love playing with him. Um, so in that case, like he would require somebody to do the puck carrying, and then he would be the one to skate up and down north south whatever. But I don't think they're going to trade him. I'd be surprised if they do, but you never know. I actually think they're going to trade Drouin. Drouin's been playing better. I know you made fun of me, Tommaso, but uh, he's been looking much better. 12 points in 12 games or something like that. I've been hearing rumors about Colorado again. I think they're going to get a draft pick for him. They're not going to get anything special, but they will move him. And I think that if they can get anything for a Dadonov, you move him. Doesn't even matter. Like a seventh round pick, take it. I don't care. And then the only other guy that's the question mark that they've been dangling is Monahan, but Monahan hasn't played. And he's skating. He's in a non contact jersey, but it's a foot injury. So it was a broken foot. It wasn't his hip, which is good. But it has taken a long time. Like it's not something that he's recovered from really quickly. And it is a little concerning for me because they've been very hush hush about it. So I don't know if they're just playing the game where they're just bubble wrapping the guy and they've told teams that he's fine, he's just not playing. I don't want to say they're being dishonest. It just feels weird. Like a foot injury shouldn't last this long. It's a weird thing, situation. So he's just starting to skate now. So we'll see. But I think that those are the guys. If I were to say that what a successful deadline would look like, I would love to if they could move Hoffman without retaining any salary. And even if they did retain salary, it's only for another year, and the Canadians are probably not in contention next year for anything other than maybe a potential playoff spot if the stars align. So I would say I would even be willing to eat some salary for Hoffman next year just to get rid of that bum because you need some space for the younger players to come up and play. And he's taking ice time away from some guys like Ulanen in the AHL and some other guys that are going to come up next year. So that's
So he has
my big
1 year
concern.
left, Mike,
He,
after this.
yeah, he does.
So you think he's easy, he would be easier to trade next year? You don't think?
I think he would be
Like,
easier to trade next year for sure. But all I'm saying is that the cost of you keeping him is that you're not developing a younger player, right?
yeah, no, I get it, but
So that's what I
yeah,
would think it would be worth. Like it's only a year. If you're talking, I got to eat salary for 2 or 3 more years. I'm like, no chance am I doing that. But I really look at it as the window to win. If your window to win is going to be within that term that you're going to have to eat money on, forget it. Like I told Tommaso earlier about Carlson. Like as soon if San Jose is eating that money, forget it. You're not going to win anything with that during that time that you're paying a player to play for somebody else, even a percentage
Exactly.
one. So I would say another year. Yeah, I can handle that. Yeah, sure. Um, and like he's not a horrible influence, but I just want to see some new blood, right? Like you want to get rid of some of the veterans that are. He's not a core guy. This is time to. I'd rather see a younger player play. So that's what it comes down
mm,
to. Edmondson, I don't know. I don't see the rush. Like, why would they trade him? He's a veteran defenseman. He's not breaking the bank. Uh,
he's also hurt, isn't he?
he is. But I mean, he is skating now. I think he's resuming skating shortly. So it's just the bumps and bruises of an older player. They're not overly concerned about it, but a lot of media reports have said. I think George Lorock was saying that he's got a bad back or whatever. But hey, that's welcome to anybody
Yeah,
in the
especially
NHL.
the way he plays too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, big physical defenseman. That's
Yeah.
what you're gonna get. But so anyway, I don't know. That would be a successful deadline for me if they can move out some of those guys. Three of those guys would be great, and for any type of return. Like ideally, if I could dream, I know his objective was to get an additional first round pick. I don't think that's possible unless he moves Anderson. I think he's been offered a first round pick for Anderson, and he said no. That's the only.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
The only way he gets a first is if he moves Anderson. It really depends on, like we said, like who's gonna replace that body. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm worried. I don't like trading physical guys like that because you can't have young players that someone's just gonna beat up. You need somebody to be a little bit of a presence out there physically, and Anderson is that, right? So even if he is overpaid, I think that it just comes down to like, could you trade him in another moment and his value is going to be higher? I think so. I don't think that you would lose by waiting another year. That's the way I see it. Unless someone makes him an offer he can't refuse. But that's but that's the way I see it anyway.
I agree
Makes
on
sense.
the Monahan thing. I think they're just holding him out.
Mm. And especially because all these players now, like Taves is on IR. Poor guy. Like all these centermen, like no one's available anymore, right? So in order to get like Monahan's gonna end up being one of the better centermen left
Yep.
if he's healthy, right? So
So I heard something funny, and it actually makes sense. Monahan's value increases with him being hurt. So if Monahan can't play this year, and you can basically just sit until the playoffs start, and then he'll play for you. Like he's
hmm,
actually more valuable to a team
that's
that
crazy.
has cap restraints.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean
The
So
that
whole
makes
time
like
he was saying that,
it makes
I was just
sense.
like, oh,
He can be on
there's
LTIR for the
another
rest of the
guy.
year. It's interesting.
Who's he just got hurt. Another guy. Oh, shoot.
Was it
What's his
Stone?
name?
Was it Stone?
No, it's another guy that they were hoping to trade, but he just got hurt.
you know what team?
Um, do I want to say Verana?
No,
Oh
he just
no,
came back. He just
Jakob
came.
Verana in Detroit.
there's
He
somebody who just got hurt in a very similar situation. And Elliot Freeman was saying,
Oh, it was Nyquist. Gustav Nyquist?
"That's it, Nyquist.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect. Thank you."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that he was
Columbus.
saying
Yeah.
it makes more sense. These guys actually provide more value to teams willing to trade for them
Hmm.
because they could just add on to the LTIR,
Yeah.
more cap space for them to acquire more players,
Wow.
and then as soon as the year is over, they can put them on and let them play. It's like
Yeah,
the
it's the
Leafs did it with Riley. I think it was right. What's his name? Riley
Tampa Bay
from
is licking their lips right now.
no, this is what they did with like Kucherov. Like you add a player at the end of the year, it costs you nothing. Right.
no, but the Leafs did it. Like they traded what's his name? The center. I
Riley Nash, who was it?
Riley Nash, thank you. He
Yeah.
traded for Riley Nash, and he was hurt, and they were fine with it. And then they played him one game in the playoffs,
One game,
and I
I
think that
remember
was
that.
it. And he
Yeah,
was
one
done.
game. Yeah.
No, you're right.
So
That's a good
I don't
point.
know.
It's a good point, Tomas,
It's a
because
Maybe.
serious loophole.
but
Like it's
that's what I said. Like I don't I've said this before. Like what are the protocols on the NHL to ensure that a player is actually hurt? Like I don't like it. Like you could literally say, "Yeah, guy's hurt." And then
yeah.
and what? Like cuz it actually, if you think about it, an older player, right? He's seen like a guy like what's his face? Giordano for the Leafs would be a good example.
Yeah.
Like that guy's seen a lot of mileage, you know what I mean, in the NHL. So it would actually be in your best interest. I know he's not making a lot of money, so this is probably a bad example. But just talking about the mileage that a guy's seen, it's probably better to give him a 30-game rest, you know what I mean, and get him ready for the playoffs. So it does make sense, like what you're saying. Like I don't want to sound optimistic about Monahan's return, but that it could be that's what they're doing. Like the Canadians GM is a pretty sneaky guy from what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
So hey, time will tell. Like if Monahan doesn't come back and he gets traded and then he ends up playing in the
That's
playoffs
exactly what they did. Yeah.
and he plays in the playoffs, then you're like, "Oh my God, this was exactly what happened." Like they
Yeah.
literally were playing for fools. And that's what I say, like what does
Mhm.
the NHL do to control that? If the answer
I
is
don't know.
nothing, I don't think they do
Yeah, I was
anything.
gonna say I don't think they do anything because they can't tell the player, "Oh, you need to play." Like because like I know in basketball, players
Load
can take a
management.
rest day off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think to a
load
degree you're
management. Yeah,
right. But the problem is when a player gets injured, a doctor has to evaluate
Yeah,
you.
a
A
team
doctor
doctor
has
or
to
a league doctor?
report. A doctor, the team doctor,
Team
right? And
doctor, not a
the,
league
yeah,
doctor.
this
Yeah.
isn't the 1970s Slapshot movie, right? That
Uh,
some guy with a beer
what
is
about
just gonna sign over.
Oh, really?
Like he's
What
not gonna
about
risk his medical
really?
license,
What happened with
right?
the Miami Dolphins and that guy?
Yeah, but you know
yeah,
what?
Shaw.
That's when the owner goes, "I'm sending $4 million to your Swiss bank account,
Yeah, but
don't worry, just sign it.
that's
right?
what happens. Look at James Woods in Any Given Sunday. That's the kind of doctor he is, right? Like these guys
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah,
These guys are like, yeah, who am I to step in front of these guys who are trying to fulfill their dreams? That's what he said, right? Like
for sure.
he goes, this guy wants to play. And what do you want me to tell him? I told him he couldn't play. He said I'm playing. Okay, you're healthy, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, I could see
Well,
it. Like, especially if it's like a back injury or something. Like, how can you really determine how severe it is, right? Like, there is no like diagnosis. It's just he's got to tell you like how
Right,
much pain he's in, if he can handle it or not. Like, you
right.
can't. Like, if there's no structural damage, then well, like he could say whatever he wants.
Yeah,
You know? Like,
exactly. There are guys that played, like, was it Josh Georges from Montreal? He played without knee ligaments for years. Like
yeah,
he
what an
literally
animal.
he literally had like no ACL, I think, for years, and he couldn't even turn one in one direction. It was bad. He could only turn one way. It was funny to watch him, but he managed it, right? And then at one point he's like, okay, it's becoming a problem, and I got to get it fixed. But it was like he played for 4 or 5 years like this, right?
I don't know
yeah,
how he did it.
And but that's what I'm saying. Like the league is really, I guess, helpless. So
yeah.
these are, I don't know if we'll
What
call them.
can they do, right?
Giancarlo said it's a loophole. I guess it's a pretty
Well, the
big one.
players have the control, right? And the teams can use that to their advantage as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that happen behind closed doors. But I mean,
Right,
all the player has to say is, "I'm not ready to come back." Like once the player is injured,
right,
he gets medically injured. Like the doctor's not going to lose his job. He's doing it right. But how
For
long that
sure.
injury is
yeah, it's
all
true.
on the player.
You're right, and
He
it's
can
like
say, "Oh yeah, no, I'm out for this." That's what I think
you're right.
Kucherov probably
You
did.
make a good point. Like there's an acute injury, right? Like if you have like a shoulder injury or a torn knee ligament, it's an acute injury, right? Where right away you know it's a problem and you go and get it fixed. And the turnaround time for a player is depending on the player, right? Some
Hmm.
guys are back. Like I've seen guys come back from concussions even in a week. Other guys are gone for 3 months, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
And
everyone handles it different.
yeah, it's player for player, and that not just concussions. That happens with anything. Like look at Anderson, the goalie. Like that guy is made of glass. Like
Oh yeah,
every groin injury he
Matt
gets,
Murray.
you never know. You never know when
yeah.
that
Matt
guy's going to be
Murray's
back.
bad too.
Yeah,
Well, the complete opposite. Like, I know it's not the same sport, but look what happened with Mahomes, right? Like he had a high ankle sprain, and in normal situations, you're gone for months.
right.
How the hell did he manage to play still? Like the amount of sneaky drugs they had to pump into that guy for him to perform at that level.
Yeah.
Like, there was some shady business going on, but no one's going to say anything. No one's going to look into it because it's the NFL. They know how to keep things quiet.
Yeah. And even with these hockey players, like a guy like Kucherov, for example, because I think that's what he did. I mean, hey, this guy wants to be out there playing. Like, can't take that away from him. But these guys want to win. These are players that want to win, and they've bought into this, and they're in. They're still
Yeah.
working out. They're playing, probably in their garage or wherever they play, but they'll be ready for the playoffs. And I don't know. It's tough. I don't know how the NHL is going to do anything about this.
I don't think they will. I think like Bettman's going to say these are the tools that are available for teams if they want to compete, and this is what they have to do, right? This
Well, the sooner you adjust to that, the more success you'll see, right?
yeah,
I think that's a collective bargaining agreement decision. So, like, that's not something they could sit down and talk now, and especially now with the NHLPA they just decided on their new leader. I'm sure things will start heating up with changing the game and making adjustments and stuff.
yeah, we'll see. Montreal's losing 5-2, by the way.
Oof, that was quick.
Yeah, pretty chippy game actually. It's going to be like quite. You can tell Carolina's starting to like go to the next level where they're not just a fancy dancy team. Like you're winning 5-2 and I think they're taking some runs at some guys. I'm like, what the hell? Like you're winning a game 5-2. Why are you doing that? It's getting pretty ugly out there actually. So we'll see if anything comes up. I got it all
The
beside
slam
me. I'm like,
Habs.
holy jeez. I don't usually get emotional watching games anymore, but I'm like, I'm pissed off. I'm like, oh my god, these guys are taking runs at you. Like do something.
Carolina?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Wow.
yeah, that's why I'm
Huh.
like, can't trade a guy like Anderson. Sorry, that's just the way it is. You gotta be ready for this.
You do. You need some type of protection. Just look at our Leafs. Like that's the perfect example of what not to do.
Yeah.
And you need a couple guys to keep things honest.
Hey, Tommaso, you haven't given your GM hat.
Mine is me and Dave think pretty much like identical. So the only thing I would do is I think exactly like Dave does. I don't think you can fix this team. I don't think you could fix the team that I would want to be a true contender. Like I think there's just too many flaws on the team. Like for me, Morgan Riley would be the first guy out the door, and that's just not a realistic thing. Like maybe like if you were to big brain it, like Edmonton Oilers is looking for a defenseman right now. And for them to even look at Carlson and that crazy contract, maybe that says they're desperate. So maybe Morgan Riley, because like
Yeah.
everything from what Edmonton said, like what the insiders have said about why they're looking at Carlson is the Edmonton star players, they went to the management and said, we don't want a guy that's going to be physical and dump the puck up the boards. We want a guy who can pass the puck to us. We want playmakers. We want guys like that. So that's why they're looking at a guy like Carlson. Well, realistically, Riley is kind of like a poor man's version of Carlson, right? Like he does move the puck up. He is a good passer. I don't know. Like maybe that could be something that entices
I love you, Tomas.
Edmonton. And
Tommaso, you're the best.
0%, man.
I know,
He's
Well,
right
I
on,
just
though. He's
that's
right
your
on.
dream. That's just a
that's
dream
my
of
dream.
yours.
That just to get
Yeah.
Riley
Yeah,
off
but
the books,
it
right?
makes
If you can
total
get him off
sense.
the books,
Edmonton wants something done.
Yeah, but he's
It's
got
yeah,
a no
really an
trade.
idea.
Edmonton wants a guy like him, right?
It's not gonna be Riley.
Yeah, but Mike, he's going to turn down going to play with McDavid. I think every player would love to play with McDavid.
Yeah, I
The
understand
Leafs
what you're
will.
saying.
The Leafs
Well,
love
that's what I
him.
mean.
They
Like,
won't.
if you were to move Riley,
True,
like in a
true.
dream world, obviously, like we were saying, we're all smart, right? We know that would never happen, especially with this management group. But if you were to move Riley, that frees up $7 million, and that's huge. And now we're talking like now you can make adjustments. Now we can make moves. And for me, it's you want some type of physicality on the wing. Like I would love a guy like Bertuzzi, but again, Dave said it already. Like I don't think he comes here. I would love an Achari to
Yeah,
be
I
the
like him.
center for that fourth line.
Oh, I love him.
And that would be perfect for us because our fourth line has no identity. It has no nothing. It's zero. It's like last year's playoffs. They played 8 minutes and they didn't do nothing. They don't give you anything. Tampa's fourth line can go up against your number one line. Like it's crazy. Like that's what wins in the playoffs. You need something. Every line needs to bring something, either scoring, physicality, energy. You can't just be a waste of space. And that's the problem with the Leafs. We haven't had a real fourth line or of any substance in years. Like he just has not addressed it.
But
So
do you think,
those are things I would do.
going back to Riley though, do you think that do you think that he would tell you that he took a discount to play?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah, I think so too. I think he would.
I think so.
And that's the problem. Like when you give a player a no trade clause, it was part and parcel, right? Like he he would say, "Yeah, I'll stay here and I'll take a little bit less," because he probably could have got more on the market. To be fair, I mean, I wouldn't have paid him, but
Well, think about
somebody
it.
would have.
Rowinski, Nurse,
Yeah,
Seth Jones, all signed within a month or two from each other.
yeah,
9 million.
yeah,
So
and he took less.
his agent was probably thinking, why not? Why not Riley? And this is when Riley literally just had his best year.
Yeah.
So
So that's a good
I don't know.
example, Tommaso, of remember we said with the agent has a say, but the player has a say. And Riley obviously said, "I want to stay here," right?
Yeah.
And then they literally bought the no trade clause, right? The Leafs said, "Yeah, we'll sign you, and the no trade clause is going to cost you." And Riley said, "Okay," right? And that's really what the terms were. So it's going to be tough to move a contract like that. I understand what you're saying. Like, would you want to go play with McDavid? Yeah, I guess maybe. All you can do is ask him. But the reality is, he, in good faith, said he'd stay with you, and he took less. So it's
But
up to him at the end of the
realistically,
day.
how can you make that deal with Edmonton anyway? What are they going to give you that you need?
Anything,
Tyson
even if
Barrie.
it's a
No,
second
no, I
round
just,
pick,
I just,
I'd be okay with that.
they're not going to trade with Edmonton for many reasons. They think they're going to might play these guys one day in the finals. There's no way. Riley, his contract just started. Just sit back and enjoy the next 6,
No,
7
but
years.
have
'Cause
you
he's not going
heard
anywhere.
what they're offering? Like they're saying that Carlson is multiple first round picks.
Carlson's
Multiple.
going to win, but he's going to win the
But
Norris this year.
no, but what planet are you on? This is a guy that people were saying you would need multiple first round picks to dump him at
Well,
the
I think
beginning of
it
the year.
depends. I think it all comes down to how much you retain or don't retain. That's what it comes down to. If I'm Mike Greer, I'm saying the same thing. I'm giving you a defenseman that when he's healthy, he's one of the top 5 defensemen in the league. What am I going to get from him? And what can
Yeah, but
Edmonton really? What can Edmonton even give them? I mean, where's Giancarlo with his list of prospects? What do they have really that's
Pretty
going to
dry out
wow
in
them?
Edmonton.
That's what
no,
I
but
mean. Like,
they would have
what are
to
they going to
dump
give?
salary too, though,
They're known
right?
for their oil.
I know, but the more again, I don't know what Edmonton's gonna have to give up like 2, 3 first round picks because I don't know what else they can give them.
No,
Maybe
Even
they'll
the
give you
no,
value.
guys Tyson
why?
Berry back.
Oh,
You
good.
have
An
to give
option.
Tyson Berry back to make it work in terms of money, right? You have to fit in the salary. But here we go again, business 101, right? Like supply and demand. Like who else is going for Carlson? Nobody.
Yeah.
It's
Nobody.
like when Dubas was working with Ottawa and trying to trade for Murray. Nobody in the
Yeah,
NHL.
but
It
what
was
rush is San Jose in? They can wait till
then
the summer, and
don't
then
walk
they have
away.
31 teams, but they have 31 teams in the summer.
But that's what I mean. Edmonton, walk away. You don't have to like if Edmonton's knocking on your door, like if I'm San Jose and someone's willing to give me a hot dog and a Coke, I'm trading Carlson right now because if you can get that guy off your books, that saves you. Because in a year from now, 2 years from now, Mikey was saying that earlier. Like, how are you supposed to rebuild and restart your team when you got $11 million on your book,
Yeah.
dead cap space?
Yeah, you can't.
This guy is going to break down
Ooh.
very soon,
Wait a
and
minute,
as
but
soon
wait
as
a
he
minute.
does, we're done.
But they have them now in their bottom 5. So what's the difference?
Yeah, but eventually they
Once
got
they
to get
lose,
better, right?
once they lose Timo Meyer, they're going to be even worse. Like I
He's
said,
got a
listen,
crazy contract. How many years has he got left?
4. I think he has
Who?
4.
Carlson?
4 after this year?
Yeah,
3 after this year.
Well,
that's
4
it.
total with this. There's 3 more. Listen, I think he's easier to trade in the summer. You can have more teams that can actually.
Sure,
He's an injury away from being untradeable, though.
that's what I'm saying. Like he's
Then he
at
goes
his
off the books.
best.
Then he's off the books. Then if he's
Also,
got to
he's
Sell
retire.
more valuable.
high, always sell
Guys,
high.
who
You
said
have
Carlson?
a chance, do
Carlson's got another 4 years after this year.
So it is
it.
4.
Exactly.
years.
I'm
After
telling you.
after this year. So he's got
Okay, so it was 4.
yeah.
It's dangerous. That guy, man, he could be like talk about an anchor. Oh my God, 4 more years of
Yeah.
$11 million.
11 and a half.
Oof. Oh,
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
what Dave said. If you could just stash his contract because he's hurt and then he's magically okay for the playoffs, give it a go.
Another thing, yeah.
Well, okay.
Thanks
Now
for saying
now
that to
now
me,
His
guy.
now
value
we're
just
getting
went up.
now we're getting clever. I understand what you're saying, but
Hey,
that's
can Pittsburgh trade for this guy? I'll take him.
nice. But that's where
Yeah.
you got to be clever, right? Like I don't know. I think you're going to see more and more of this shenanigans, right? Where teams are going to start to do that, right? Like Florida did it last year with what's his face there, Ekblad. I said it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
absolutely, they did.
he was there game 1. I know people are saying he played hurt. Okay, fine. Game 1, he was there. I don't know what else to say.
He didn't
So
look 100%, but he was in a playable condition, I would say.
game
Yeah,
1,
if
he
it
was
was
there.
regular season, but Mike, if it was regular season, he wouldn't have played.
0 chance.
Yeah, maybe.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
But also that
exactly.
risk, people say this a lot too. Like I condemn Kucherov for what he did, but there is always a risk to the scenario, and you can take an entire year off. Think about how crazy what Kucherov did was. You
You're
can
right.
take an entire
Yeah.
year off of hockey, come back in the most intense situation, and you've never had any game experience with a hip injury that's just had surgery, let alone timing. Like it's pretty amazing. And he didn't he lead the playoffs in scoring that year? Like
Yeah,
it's
and he was phenomenal. Yeah,
crazy, crazy. Like
yeah.
it's just a crazy
What a player.
scenario that like in a team, are you really gonna bet on that? You're like, oh yeah, I bet on a guy coming back from hip surgery and didn't play a regular season game, is gonna come back and not miss a beat. Holy crap! Like it's
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because it's very rare. Because remember when Nylander held out when he came back, he never got on track, and they kept using that as the excuse. Oh, he never got training camp and this
yeah,
and that. He came well, so yet Kucherov, fucking,
it's true.
passed with flying colors.
No,
Some
it's
people are just built differently, though, Dave. Like Kucherov, where he was at that place in his career, like that Kucherov was at his prime. Like Nylander, like that was when it was prosciutto Willie season, right? Like he was back when he barely gave a shit. Like 80% of his shifts. So he'd show up once in a while and you'd see there's some nice talent. Kucherov, I don't care what anyone says about that guy. That guy's a gamer,
yeah,
man.
he is.
He plays hard. He plays dirty. Like he's someone that you want to win.
Yeah, he wants to win.
He will do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, he wants to win. Yeah, you can see it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
He's
not
an
I
it's,
love
animal.
that guy.
it's not hard to see, and that's what you want. You want those guys. So
That's all
And
you ask for.
what's scary is these guys, like, he's having an unbelievable season, and it's like
uh-huh.
he's back to that form, and it's like, how far can Tampa Bay go with this team firing at all cylinders, and they know what it takes to get there. So it's crazy,
Well,
this
Oh
Tampa Bay
yeah,
team.
I'd take them over Boston any
Me
day.
too,
I don't
Yeah,
care what
easily.
anyone
yeah,
says.
I agree.
I think Tampa. If you were telling me who's winning the Stanley Cup right now, I'd say Tampa. I
Yeah,
don't
Yeah,
care what anyone. I get it. Boston's doing on this crazy roll. When the playoffs start, Tampa's going to show you who they really are,
the
and
regular
that team
season
knows
means
how to
nothing.
win.
the
Yeah, like
yeah, I agree with
you
It
you.
know
means
what
you
I
get
hate?
home ice. That's all you're
I
playing for.
You know what I hate? That if they play the Leafs, we got to hear Cooper for
I
five,
hate
six,
that
7
guy
games.
so much.
He's such a
Oh,
snake. He's such a snake. That guy. It's
he
ridiculous.
really showed his true colors this playoffs. That playoffs against the Leafs, before the playoffs against the Leafs, he was one of my favorite coaches in the league. I love that guy. I don't know why. I just thought this guy was like such a great, like everything, well spoken, smart, intelligent. And you know what? I'm sure all those things still apply.
Yeah,
But what an
yeah,
asshole.
he is.
Like he
Yeah,
was such a
Yep.
dirty snake.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, he was
like
getting in
I
Campbell's
almost
head. He was getting in Campbell's head.
yeah,
Yeah, he knew.
I almost threw a party
Yeah.
when I saw him crying during the Colorado series. Do you
Oh,
remember that?
when they
Like,
scored that goal, and he goes, "You all
yeah,
saw it. You're
and he
all
was
gonna
crying. I was like,
when
oh,
when you when
Poverino.
you see the replay, you guys are gonna know what I mean." And I'm
Oh,
like, "What's this guy talking
yeah.
about? Like, what a
I was like, you loser. Eat it, you loser. I was like, that was,
yeah,
for me, that was
yeah,
perfect.
I hate him too. But I mean, but he is that like he is that kind of guy where he's gonna play like Dave says mind games all the time. That's what he does. It's part of his job, right?
Yep.
Like he's gonna get in your head. He's gonna make you feel better than you are when he wants you to. And he's gonna say things to influence the refs. He's always got an agenda.
Yeah.
That guy. He's not doing it because he's nice or he's whatever. Yeah, it's bullshit. He is just a
No,
snake, and
no.
he's doing it to
He knows what he's doing.
exactly
He's the
everything.
Marchand of coaching, you
I
know?
think I read
He
somewhere that
knows
he was
exactly
like,
what he's doing.
wasn't he like a philosophy major? I think or something like that.
Is he a lawyer? I think he's a
Maybe.
lawyer.
I think he was. Let me see.
I don't know.
I think he
I
was
thought he
a
Better
was a
than our
lawyer.
coach. Our coach is happy about how people shake their hand in the losing line. Can you
That's
believe
bad,
this
eh?
loser?
That's bad.
Oh my
I hate.
God. The
huh.
respect I got this year was more than last year.
Oh.
Like, I saw that.
That was
Like,
more mind games.
do you really hear yourself? Like honestly, like how do you have, like, I don't understand. How do you allow yourself to have those words come out of your mouth? Like, aren't you embarrassed? Like, obviously, Montreal must have been laughing at him, right? Like when Montreal beat Toronto, they literally laughed at Toronto. Like their
Yeah.
guys were eating pizza after the game, and
Yeah, but
like
that was a thing.
Anderson
Yeah.
was asking for Toronto. They're like, I want Toronto. I want to face them.
Yeah.
That's how, like, it was a joke, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Well,
Uh,
but that's where you who else? Foligno made fun of them too, right?
Oh yeah,
Didn't we?
Foligno made fun of him after the Columbus series. They said they were all
Yeah.
soft and
Yeah.
da da
No, he said that before the series. It still couldn't
da.
fire them up.
Maybe.
Yeah, he said it when I think the Leafs beat him in a regular season game, but Columbus was all over them, and he's like, I can't believe these guys. We lost to these guys.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
But you know what? Like, regardless anything that happens with the Leafs, for me, that hurts the most. That hurts the most. Like when they're your team, and like the laughing and the embarrassment and like the fact that people just walk all over them, like that breaks me. Like that's the thing that I'd rather be like lose like how the Habs are than like at least with pride and they fight and like just at least have some pride in who you are.
oh,
Don't
just,
go out like this.
just back to what Garrett Sparks said. Sparks, he said it. He said it right years ago. He goes, "These guys don't play angry. They don't get upset." And then after that, they told him to shut up. So
Yeah.
he wasn't lying,
So,
man. He saw it. So there's no passion. The passion is not there.
it's too bad that guy never landed anywhere. Sparks.
oh, he was a bad
He's like
goalie.
he's a DJ or something now.
Is he-
Jared Sparks?
Oh,
Yeah, I think he
That's
spins.
a pretty great
records.
DJ name, I gotta say. Garrett Sparks, the DJ. That's pretty cool. If you think about it, it works.